by the way, my husband and I were having a drinking game for every time you said the F word, and we didn't make it. She's like, we're going to wander around so we can sober up a little bit. But we just wanted to tell you we had a great time. And that's the only time where in my brain I'm like, maybe I should dial back a little bit. Yeah. Or
I almost gave these people alcohol poisoning. Holy shit. Like,
fucking, we lost Agnes to liver disease.
Derek, are we live?
We are live, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the Naturals Pod.
Welcome to this episode of the Naturals Pod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle. Seated on the other end of the couch, my producer, my best friend, Sweet Derek, the goddamn producer.
What up, Natties? Let's go.
Today, we have a very special guest. In my opinion, one of the hardest working guys in this Vegas comedy scene. Agreed. Welcome to the show, comedian Adam Dominguez.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, look, hardest working, does that say anything about, like, funny at all? Like, it always reminds me of, like, think about the hooker who works every fucking night, where she could just get one date and get fucked really good. And then that's it, and that pays her bills, right? That's kind of what it feels like.
That's more of a call girl situation. No. I didn't. That was not like a consolation prize ribbon or anything. That's a sign of respect. I have.
Yeah, you're grinding.
I'm a big hard work guy. Talent also,
appreciate it.
You got to have the hard work too.
I appreciate it. That's I'm dying internally, constantly. Like it's a constant struggle of what the fuck am I still doing? Holy shit. No, I'm happy to be on here. I watch the pod, right?
Thanks,
so, man. Whenever and I do get the chance, I'll just wake up and then I'll see you guys get weird with a lot of the guys, the boys who come down over here. And I gotta say, it's definitely my speed. It's my
thanks, man. It means a lot. Appreciate
Glad to hear that.
It's my flavor. I do appreciate that you also, when we got this thing started, you were like, "Hey, do you want to start drinking now?" And I was like,
comedy, podcasting, there's more than likely alcohol involved. We like to keep it loose here, you know what I'm saying?
Tonight's going to be a very fun one. That's all I give a shit about.
Nice.
Holy fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be here.
Cool, man. We're stoked.
Are you going to the Dirty at 12:30 tonight? Are you doing that? Is that why you're saying it's fun? Or you got something else planned?
Shout out to Dirty at 12:30.
Yeah, shout out to Gabe and Tina and the whole Dirty Birds.
Good people.
Yeah, I tend to stop in. Now that I do their graphics, that's one of the other gigs that I do.
Cool. Okay.
So I do
hardworking guy. What can I say?
Just do all their graphics and stuff. So I come in, say hello, say what's up to all the porn stars, and leave. I think I introduced you guys.
You did.
Yeah. You did.
It was cool for me.
That was a solid moment. Yeah. I was like, I like this fucking guy, dude. Just get this right in there.
I'm gonna have to bleep the name, but Katie Morgan, who's in one of my favorite Kevin Smith movies, because I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Zach and Miri Make a Porno. So that was cool.
You can't bleep the name because the people are gonna immediately know who that is.
I think she'd be really cool with it too.
Okay, yeah.
She's such a supporter.
She was really cool.
Yeah, she did the charity series of poker with the other Dirty Birds too, and she's so involved with the scene. We did a 11-year anniversary pool party, and her and all the other girls and the dudes and everybody else all showed up, and it's a good time. Like, it's strange when you make friends with adult entertainment people, right? Especially if you were a fan of theirs before.
That's what I was just about to say. Especially if you're someone who is partaking in the content, you're like, this is weird and awesome at the same time.
I don't know about if it worked for you guys, but I definitely now I kind of look up porn and be like, hey, I know that guy. Oh my God, look at there was a moment in there, and I'll totally give him a shout out. This guy it's this couple, Jackie Knight and Jada Kai, made friends with them when I kind of moved here to Vegas. They were like the first adult couple, porn star couple that I met.
That's a dude named Jackie?
Jackie, yeah, that's his stage name,
okay.
Right? And so when they would show up to all my shows, right? Whenever I had a big show, they would always show up. The Amazon taping, they showed up. Any Upstart shows, they were there. They brought their friends. It kind of made the show really attractive and stuff.
That's awesome.
And then when he started advertising, I told him too, like, hey, if there's anything you need from my end, I'll help out. And he got nominated for Best Dick on Pornhub.
What an honor. Let's go, dude.
So there I am on my Instagram being all like, hey guys, don't forget to cast your vote for Jack.
Best dick. Go get a look at this great looking dick, dude.
Get a load of this dick right over here, guys. It is worth the nomination.
That's great.
And,
Oh my God.
fucking love those guys, man. They're fucking fun as fuck. But yeah, it's strange, right? Because I saw the way you responded when you got to meet her.
Yeah.
And then when you guys meet like the rest of all of them.
They were really cool to us, man. And,
She
and
fucking
they were
lightweight
great.
slammed us a little bit because of our smaller like following and subscriber base. Because I get it, dude. The game that they're in is a numbers game. Like that shit matters, especially with this podcast stuff, which is why.
But she did turn it around and she's like, "You guys are great and really
She
funny
fucking
and stuff."
slammed
But
us.
she did.
She tried to
she's
soften
like-
the blow. She was like, "Ooh, you guys don't have a lot of followers." I'm like, "Yeah,
Because
that's
she's
true,
like, "How
man."
many followers do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, we're getting close to 1,000." And she's like, "Ew." And it's like,
It's
"Oh,
how
okay,
I'd
fuck."
imagine she would
Small,
look at
I
a
get
small
it.
dick. Honestly, if she saw like a tiny little chode, she'd be like, "Oh,
Okay, look,
is that real?" Like,
I'm making this into right. Okay, Katie, if you're there, I invite you to be a guest on this podcast to help out. Right,
We would have her on, yeah, straight
Yeah,
up.
I mean,
she
of
was
course.
legitimately. Besides that, it was funny, and I
I want
get
you
it.
to slam me in person on my podcast,
But
Katie,
she
right here
overall,
on
it was
this couch.
overall though it was cool. And
It
like
was.
I
It was
said,
a great
like I said,
experience.
I love that movie, and she's in that movie, and I love fucking Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith and stuff. So it was cool just to talk to her about that real quickly, and then just the vibe. They're all really sweet. Like Rebel's really cool, and I'm not trying to like say all their names and shit, but they're all really nice to us, and
name
we're willing to check
dropping
out the
like
pod
crazy,
and appreciate
fucking
introducing. It
Derek.
was a fun night. It was a fun night. It was
Yeah.
a
I
cool
think
spot.
I was talking to a few of the comedians in the green room, and I had just got off stage at the Dirty, and I was in there, and I did my little merch pitch where I sell the hats and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I hung out in there, and the comics who were in there, I guess not accustomed to Vegas, they were like, "Hey, is that Katie Morgan out there in the audience?" And is like he said that she ran into the green room to buy one of my hats, the one that says autism fucks, and and I have a video of her putting it on and modeling it and
Awesome,
fashioning
yeah.
it, and it's like one of those like this is a weird fucking life.
Yeah, that's a very surreal moment.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
a strange moment, and then being all like, "Okay, $20, please." And then, you know what? I want a
Giving me
refund.
money,
Yeah, for all the subscriptions I've used when I was younger, money rebate, a rebate.
But no, it was a cool experience, and she overall was nice and stuff.
Yes.
dude, so.
She was in the DVD era. She'd be like, you know how many DVDs,
She was, dude.
Blu-rays
She's
I
in
got
those
of
old
you,
school,
Katie.
yeah.
That's got to be a weird fan moment for them too, where they have to be like, "Oh," like maybe if you have like one or two, it's like cool. But if they ever met like a fan who had like 20
like some
DVDs,
crazy
they'd be like,
collection or
"Okay,
whatever.
all right." Too much of a fan.
And again, I
I'm
wasn't
not-
really more so like for her porn. It was just again that movie role more so
Yeah.
than like I watch your porn.
Yeah,
It was like one
and
of those
she is.
guys.
I would say she is a personality.
She
you know
is,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
She has a very
Character.
distinctive voice and everything. But I'm not going to put the name out there and put them on blast. But I did have a buddy who is married and has kids and stuff who was cleaning out his garage, and he had a giant tub of just DVDs. There could have even been like VCR, VHS tapes and that shit. And he goes, "Do you want it?" And out of morbid curiosity, I took it because I wanted to see what's in there.
Yeah.
But then I made the mistake of leaving it in the back of my car, and I think my dad and I were doing something where we had to put something in the back seat, and he pulled it out, and he was nosy, so he popped the lid, and he's like, "You want to tell me about something? What's going on here?" And I'm like, "It's the classic case of it's not mine, dude. It was not mine."
Yeah, I don't think my parents were ever exactly weird for that. There was a moment in there growing up where I used to manage an adult store, right? So for like 2 years, I was the manager of a porn shop. And when I first got started, like it was fucking, we'd have the DVDs, then we'd have the fucking toys, and then always end up in our cars. If we fucking, there's a few times I robbed that place, and
Never said the name.
yeah, there's just going in there. I was the weird guy, definitely, who had like oh, I had an iVibe Pearl, right, and it was a fucking mechanical dildo and shit and everything, because I think it was for shits and giggles, and I
Yeah,
just
of
have
course.
them on me.
Yeah.
And I remember when my sister, there was a moment in there where she was a dancer, and when my dad found out, he got so mad. Like he was like, "It's like, the fuck, my daughter's fucking up on the stage dancing. And I told him, like, I work at a porn shop. Like, I get sexually harassed. I think my first week I was there, I was putting away DVDs, and some dude came up there and just grabbed my dick, and I fucking socked him.
That's an aggressive porn shop experience. Oh my
first
God.
fucking week. And I socked the dude, and then I got into trouble because they said, hey, this is our clientele. They'll be here even after you're gone. You have to, take care of them.
Yeah,
so it's like this weird thing. And when I remember telling my dad this, I was like, hey, this is what happens to me. At least she's making a lot more money than I.
At least she gets a tip with the groping, dude. Like, oh my God.
Me, it was just cruisers and police officers who were off shift and needed to get a nut off, come up and just, hey, what's up? And hey, how's it going? And it's like,
oh
yeah.
Was this one of those spots that had like booths and shit where they could walk?
Yeah, old school booths, dude. I remember those.
Like Ron Jeremy in Boondock States, you're a dirty little girl. I probably shouldn't do this on camera. You're gonna have to bleep that. Let's do it together,
just
Adam.
all
So
the
he has to-
just do it both. Shaking champagne, switch
Editing
shifting.
Derek is gonna be like, fuck both of these guys right now.
I'm just gonna blur the fuck out of everything.
It's still great though.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, it was in El Paso, Texas, but we were on the border of El Paso, which Texas and New Mexico, right? So we had two addresses because the laws in Texas are different. You can't have like realistic phallic shit, right? But the New Mexico side, you totally could. So our store would have like a section of like, oh man, these are realistic veiny dildos and dicks and shit. And then you'd go to the other side and it was like, oh, this is the fucking candy striper, the fucking,
octopus fucking leg or something.
Great American Challenge. Yeah. And the just these huge fucking impractical stuff. And so whenever we got raided, we have to give them a different address.
There's raids?
Yeah, there'd be a
oh my
lot.
God.
We'd have to go through several raids and this shit. So honestly, I think that's why I live like the way I do now. It's like, oh, nothing surprises me anymore, right? We would get raided in that place.
Did it literally like straddle the line in between states? Was it one of those things where it's like, here is the line between states?
We were in between El Paso, Texas, and Sunland Park, New Mexico, which is such a blurry line. And we were a small pink building next to a popular steakhouse.
I feel like it's always pink or something. Color.
There's no signs to tell you what it is, but everybody knows what it is.
It's one of those things where like, it's what
implied,
this is.
yeah.
We don't need to tell you.
I think I went like a couple months without like knowing what the name of the shop was. It's because I got the job off of a Craigslist post, and the job interview was pretty much three questions. It was, are you available to work anytime? Because we're a 24-hour shop. And I said yes. And then they said, are you bothered by anything that you see inside the shop? And I said no. And then he asked if I was gay. And then I said no. And he's like, all right, you're good to go.
Oh, wow. So if you were gay, then that disqualifies you, I guess? Because they think there's going to be some weird, like, soliciting or something?
He told me that there were employees in the past that the temptation of there being so many dicks that were willing to fuck, that you would be easily tempted to just leave your post. And they said that the guy that I was replacing would just go into the movie theater and then just have a good old time with everybody in there.
Oh.
And then come back in. So,
I love my job. Like, this is incredible. This is incredible.
More blurring.
this is the most blurred episode. People are going to watch this and think they have glaucoma. Yeah. So seeing that, I've seen my share of orgies. I've seen my share of people fucking. Like, it's just
so coming from.
That's so funny though, because there was, I don't know if Derek remembers this, because I think you've been around long enough to where this was still a thing, but at Craig and Rancho, literally not that far from where we are right now.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of shit out there previously, because I've been on this end of town pretty much my entire life, so I've watched it grow. There was a lot of ranch properties, but just on that corner, it was one of the only things, that and the Santa Fe Station Casino. For the longest time, it was just a random porno shop, and it was there for years. And I think the one time I went in there was to get the nitrous canisters for the whippets when I was talking about with Laura.
Yeah, the little ones, and they would say like wham. They would be disguised like fireworks outside. It'd be like bam or fucking whippy and shit. And get a little
Whippy.
balloon. Yeah,
It always says shit on the outside that's like trying to throw you off. It's like I have used, probably will again, fake piss kits to get a job, and on the outside it's like novelty. Like,
Yeah.
haha, fun time. But you're like, no, I'm taking this to Concentra so I can pass a fucking drug test and become employed. Like,
Yep. Yeah, the amount of not for internal use, on some of the shit that
Yep.
we're like, oh, this is getting stuck up somebody's ass. Like the amount of times that I would see people try to return products too.
what?
That gets
There is a no return
yeah.
policy on toys. I'm sorry.
And to explain to them, like there are people out there who have no idea why that exists, and then when they were like, well, you've got cleaner right there, and then it's like, no, that's not the way any of this works.
They just open the bag and it stinks, and you're like, get out of the store immediately. You have to leave.
How did you get herpes? It was a used dildo. That's the last time I buy my shit at a pawn shop.
Oh, fuck.
Oh shit! Well, So you're like mainly from Texas, right? So how do you feel about the comedic scene, like blowing up in Austin out there, and kind of all that explosion that Rogan and all those guys have really brought to that scene?
It feels. I mean, I'm completely ecstatic about it. I love the fact that Texas has always had a really strong comedy scene, but it was always relegated to like Dallas or Houston, right? And it's crazy because when I came up from over there, all you would ever do is like oil field towns, right? So I'm from West Texas, which is like there's nothing fucking there. You'd have to drive 8 hours to actually hit the next comedy club.
Damn, okay.
Right? So it was one comedy club there, and that guy had a pretty much evil monopoly on the whole entire thing. And so if you didn't work there, you didn't work anywhere, And so sometimes you can get a gig, in New Mexico at one of the casinos, but you'd probably only get that once every 4, 5, 6 months, right? And then so now that Texas is blowing up and everybody's moving out over there, it's a weird double-edged sword because I'm happy that a lot of these establishments are thriving, like Cap City in Austin.
Yep.
Hyenas in Dallas is starting, they've always been a great club. South Texas, which is its own fucking monster, there's just so much there, the Riot and everything else. I'm so happy for it. But now we've got a lot of people who come down to Texas to kind of already get started. Like, you get started with comedy in the biggest scene ever, thinking that that's going to help skip some of the things. And for some people, it probably does. I mean, the opportunities there are insane. Like, if you are a Kill Tony bucket pull, that could just change things for you immediately. They have that new guy,
Drew Nickens.
He
blew up,
and they had that insane episode where they brought him out like 4 times, and you're like, what? This has never happened on the show ever.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And every time they brought him back, and you saw the set was a little off.
Yeah.
And he was definitely somebody, just based on the set alone, that you could tell that they were just going to rip into him. But he handled it so well and just so energetically positive.
Yeah, it came out with great energy.
I mean, the story, the personal backstory there is a little dark.
He like grew on me though, and probably on
Yeah.
everybody. Is the first time you're like, ooh, that was rough, but the more he came out, it's just like, oh, this guy's just a fucking pop.
Like how did they do that on the fly though? Because that was just like, was this planned, or are you guys like, we're just running with this
I don't
shit?
know. I think he just ran with it, honestly. But I don't know.
I think that's kind of what happens. Is there's a lot of comics, and I say this about Kill Tony because I do appreciate, as a comic who's been doing this for a while, I appreciate what they're doing, but I'm also finding out that there are, and you can see it on every episode since they moved to Texas, it is almost an excuse for a lot of first timers to just go up there, say the most vulgar, racist, stupid bullshit, and then hope that will get them the career, when they forget the one big rule is it has to be fucking funny. Dude.
Yeah, and you have to last. Like, that shit is low-hanging fruit.
I mean,
You got to be more creative than that, son. Like,
there's a lot of these comics, who are big on Kill Tony that we've worked with, over the years, and they've either popped in or we've seen them at shows. We've been on the same showcases and stuff. And there's a lot of these guys who the practice of having to write 1 minute and you build your hour 1 minute at a time is difficult for a lot of us to comprehend, because like I'm a storyteller, you know, it's hard for me to get all of the nuances and everything else.
You're not rapid firing jokes, you're building up to the punchlines.
Like we can Rickles the fuck out of this, and I can, you know, fucking gunsling with the best of them, but at the same token it's kind of like, oh, that's not the product I want to put out. I want to be able to be like I don't want to be just TikTok comedian, Instagram reels famous guy. I don't want that. I want to be the guy who you know, you appear on a podcast and then this is who you're gonna see up on stage, is this fucking smart ass who's been through a lot of shit. That's it. And it makes it so one of the best pieces of advice I ever got is how hard do you have to work to be the person you want to be on stage, as opposed to how hard do you have to work to just be you. And it became fucking easy. It was one of those overnight things. I just jumped up on stage, didn't really give a shit about my set. I was bored of it too, and then I made sure that after that, just talking to, hey, what's up, how's it going, fucking everything. No crowd work. It's just kind of like, oh, you've got that, oh, that reminds me, blah 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 blah. And I was going into stories. Oh yeah, I used to work in an adult store. Oh yeah, you know, I once fucked a handicapped chick on a wheelchair. And it got to the point where everything just became so honest that I didn't have to worry about the writing of it. It was literally me more worrying about remembering it.
But
I'm somebody that doesn't love. I'm fucking just steamrolling the show. I'm going to mark one more because I've definitely got you a couple of times, so I am going to mark one. But I agree with what you're saying. I don't love. Like, if you're going to do a character, it has to be top tier. But for the most part, I think the best comedy is just about you. It's you. Yeah. It's you being a funny person.
Your personal experiences and stories. And
go with what you were going to say. I'm sorry, Derek. I viciously
No, it's all good. I was just saying, like, that's one thing that me being more... I'm just a comedy fan and a podcast fan. And one thing that I've always told him when we started is just be you. People respect that more and love that more. Is just be real. Just be who you are. Like, let people into your life and explain your personal stories and shit, because there's always a lot of comedy in that. And it's funny because rounding out To Kill Tony, that's what even Tony Hinchcliffe does in the interviews. He's like, stop with the bits, stop with the bullshit. Just answer these truthfully and be you. And look at how much funny comes out of those interviews more time than their sets, because it's like, you're just being honest and real and showing who you are as a person. And there's so much funny in that. And when you can put that together, that's what makes monsters of comedians, I think.
That's been the biggest, because I'll see a lot of comedians bang their heads against the wall because they're like, why am I not fucking making it? Why can't I get beyond this? There's a popular comedian here in Vegas, and he's one of the biggest underdogs of the scene, Chris Waldeck. Right, who is I'd like to take credit that I'm the one who first diagnosed him with autism, and so he was one of those guys who had wrote bits and just wrote these like wordplay jokes and these little puns and this like fucking. The way he would deliver it made him sound like a fucking serial killer. And
so was it like really spastic, kind of similar to what Casey Rocket does? Because that's a very unique style of comedy.
He would come out there, and I still remember his first joke would be, I used to run duck boat tours in Florida, so let that be a trigger warning that the rest of this set will remain foul. And so when I would tell him, like, hey, it's getting a laugh, but it's not getting a laugh because it's funny. It's because
it's corny.
Yeah, it's you looking the way you do, delivering that, doing this uncomfortable pause, waiting for somebody to give you something. And then whereas it turned into just being like, hey, just talk. And it got to the point that his writing started blending in with actual shit that was going on in his real life, and then he started getting asked to go open up for Edwin San Juan. He's up on the Wise Guys stage a lot more often. He's one of those guys that we would look at and we would say, oh man, I left this part out. Waldeck had one of the most truthfully honest interactions I've ever had with a comedian ever. when he got real frustrated about, hey, I'm not getting booked, I'm not getting put up on places, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Can you recommend me to places and stuff? And then I said, okay, well, who's your favorite comedians? Like, just so I can get a gauge of what you're getting into. And he said, doesn't really have one. And I said, okay, what about locally? Like, of all the comedians you've seen, you've been every open mic, you've been to every showcase, which comedians here make you laugh? And then he said, nobody, because he doesn't understand their jokes.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay. That's
right?
unique, yeah.
So this is a comedian with a fucking clean slate, has no prior real knowledge, and his autism is so far gone that he doesn't understand most of the jokes being told on stage, because they're about subtleties and they're about social cues and stuff, things that he has no fucking idea what they are.
That's interesting.
And then he's going up on stage with jokes like, my favorite one he's been telling is saying, I found out that I was autistic at the age of 32. Most people find out when they're 2. It's a strange thing to find out that I'm autistic recently, but it's also strange to realize that my parents were fucking retarded.
Okay, that's good.
Right? Yeah. And holy shit, dude. It's like, yeah. That's fucking, that's it. You know?
I would say certain things like that aren't for everybody, but there is an audience, because if you can like appreciate it for what it is, like you just described it, then it is great. Not everybody. The thing that I've found is like not everybody is really like truly a comedy enthusiast. Everybody kind of has their own thing that they think is funny. I try to be open. Some things I just don't like. It doesn't mean that I'm like, that sucks and you suck. It's just more like it's not for me, you know.
I mean, there's a lot of comedians out there who are big and famous, who maybe have a lot of controversy, or they're very, very hacky, or they're very, very outdated. But I can honestly tell you, those people still sell out theaters. Yeah, those people still. The comedians. I've worked pretty closely with a lot of these controversial comics on my, coming up, and I had people say, "Hey, so and so asked me to go on the road with them. How would you handle this?" And I would tell them, "Fucking do it. Yep. Bury him. If you think your set is strong enough." And bury them. The crowd has a capacity of being fans of this, controversial comedian, and fans of you. I get it. It's. I like to be put on showcases with bigger comedians. I did the regular show with all the Kill Tony regulars,
okay, yeah.
right?
Hans Cam, right?
Yeah, so I'm there with Hans. I'm there with Cam. Rachel Wolfson's there.
Nice.
Matt Edgar. We're all just, and those guys are originally from here, so we're just hanging out, catching up, and I think it was Roseanne Barr was coming in. And they were just kind of like, oh, some people were having their like, oh, isn't that washed up? And it was like, who the fuck cares? Like, these people showed up for it.
Correct.
They showed up for it. It's like,
she still has a name, and she still has people that want to see her perform. Yep. Like, who gives a fuck?
Who gives a shit, dude? It's some people are so pretentious with their comedy tastes that when you realize that all of us will break down in tears with like a well-timed fart, right?
Like, the fart joke is a joke old as time. Yeah, I don't think it ever not gets
it'll never not work. A good, perfectly timed fucking fart. My grandmother was crying just when she found out that my grandfather went to have a heart attack, and it was the most trifle time because my parents were going through a divorce at the exact same time. And my grandmother's just bawling, and she's losing her shit, and she's realizing that the man that she's been with for fucking decades, raising this family, moved to this country, raising this family, is no longer going to be there because his life is slowly fading away. And as she cried, she let out a little and I laughed so fucking hard that I started crying, and they thought I was crying over my deceased grandfather, and I was like, yes, but also no, but yes, yeah. but fucking farty grandma here, and when you realize that no matter where your sense of humor is, that's your
the fart always hits, dude. That's the benchmark of comedy, dude. It's the fart.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Fucking work every goddamn time.
So speaking of doing like really short sets, we got to see you do God damn it, what the hell was it called? Was it Kenan Thompson Presents or
God.
something like that? But you had
Your opening joke was fucking very good.
there was like 40 comedians that went up.
It was a train
and
wreck, by
it's
the
like,
way. That
it's-
thing was a fucking mess.
It's so hard. It was rapid fire, but like I just have to say, you came up and the opening bit that you did about it like being a memorial for him was that set you apart from everybody. Like that shit was next level. It was very, very funny. Everyone around us was like, that was a funny bit. Like you could hear people whispering
Yeah, it
about
was
it
a
in the
great,
crowd.
it was a great
very
opening
good.
line, dude.
I think I met a lot of fun people on that, and I hate fucking festivals and competitions and shit. I'll do them, but I personally hate them. And so when I got invited to do this one, what had happened was the booker at Kimmel said, "Hey, can you come down? We'd like to put you on the all headliners show." And then I said, okay, cool. And I guess there was some miscommunication with the promoter for the Kenan Thompson thing. And she said, well, I don't have that. So you're doing the 2-3 minute bit or whatever the fuck. And I was all like, wait,
Yeah.
like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? And sitting, there was a line, because, this going on the stage at Kimmel's, it goes down a little hallway.
Yep.
And that line was all the way back there
insane.
of all of us, like a fucking cattle call. And in my brain I'm thinking to myself, look, I'm not built for competitions. I personally hate them. Every competition that I ever have won, it's because I don't do my material realistically. I'll make a joke about something else. When I won the funniest comic competition in Arizona, and I won whatever the fuck it was called, funniest person in the universe competition. I won that shit, but that's literally because every time I went up, I kept treating it like it was a telethon of which comedian was going to get adopted, right? And I was like, it's like, which one do you want to take home? Do you want to take home the coke fiend? Do you want to? And I would kill my set off of that, do a quick bit and be like, all right, that's my time. And I'd be like, that's the last time I'm ever getting invited. And then they just kept bringing me back. It bothers me because a lot of comedians forget to be present. They forget that this isn't fucking radio when you're at a show. This isn't like oh, you just listen to the song and that's what it's gonna look like. Then why the fuck, if I go pay ticket prices to go see you live and I hear the joke exactly the way it is on the radio, well, the fuck would I give a shit?
Yeah.
So I try to not be that guy. I try to do something different every time, almost painstakingly so. Try to be really irritating with how much, but that's also a brand risk too.
Yep.
I'm also very aware this is not sanctioned advice. It's what works for me, but I know for a fact that it has caused a lot of bookers and promoters to be like, yeah, it's because we don't know what's going to come out of your fucking mouth.
So for you don't want to be the guy that's saying the same joke over and over and over again in every city, like repetitively.
Oh no!
basically.
Like I've got the songs I want to
that,
play.
I like that. No.
I think.
You have your hits, right?
Yeah, I've got my hits. If the crowd's turning, here's Don't Stop Believing, and so fucking here we go, and then you do it, and everybody's cool with it, and then that's the joke that they remember, and
I mean, I think that could be tough too, because like, and I'm not. I mean, say what you want, regardless of how you feel them, but like a Burt Kreischer, like that's got to be like kind of hell for him, and the guy's making all the money out of it, but everyone just wants the machine. They want to hear the same fucking bit over and over and over again, and I feel as a comic, it's just like fuck. I'm trying to break away from that,
to like just come out and, like I said, I'm not trying to suck your dick too much. Go ahead and bleep that one. But like that at that show, at the Kenan Thompson thing, that opener was just great. Like that's something I'll always remember, and it's like I'm coming to see you because it's like I want to see what he's gonna walk out on the stage and fucking say.
Yeah,
I
new
have no
creative and new
idea
shit,
what it's gonna be, and I love that. I want to be surprised. You know what I'm saying?
One of the casting directors for America's Got Talent was there, and she pulled me aside and she said, that was fucking hilarious. You can't do that on network TV though.
Yeah.
But that was great. And it was a weird moment of all like, then what am I doing this? No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
Like, what are we fucking doing this for? I think I've gotten past the mentality of any expectations of being on any network.
I mean, nobody needs that shit anymore, though, Adam.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, network is a thing of the past, man. You could do it on your own. You got fucking so many avenues now.
But at the same time, it is impressive to see people who can toe that line. Like, have you ever seen Gina Brion?
Yeah, she's great.
She's fucking great.
She's fucking amazing.
And her material is honestly like very clean. There's really not a whole lot of edgy stuff, and she is just genuinely a funny person. She's a great storyteller. Like, I have a lot of respect for that. I think she's very good.
She's it's like one of my favorites, Mikey Winfield. You know, him and Sam Comro, because they did the network TV run. I'll never forget. Sam Comro was doing. He had a small, short stint residency here in Vegas, and so he'd always have these like Monday, Tuesday shows, and he would have to start his set by saying, "Hello, everybody who remembers me from America's Got Talent, or anybody who remembers me from these shows. Thank you for being fans of that." And people would cheer. People would be like,
this is not
and
that.
he's all like, "I'm letting you know we are not there."
Yeah.
And I like to fucking cuss. So here we go. And he would just start cussing as fast as he fucking could. And he's like, "If that bothered you, leave."
Yeah.
And sometimes you'd see people like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. And Winfield, same thing too. Winfield was coming out to shows, and then I remember the first time he did the Dirty at 12:30, he popped up on stage, and then he was just all like, "Fucking bitches," and he's like, "Oh, it feels so good to say that." Like, it was like, "Oh, I haven't been able to say this shit on stage."
Clean, yeah.
But it's true. I'm I'm very transparent. I like to fucking go up there and pull the veil back if I have to, and being all like, "Hey, look, yesterday I got booked at a show in Kingman, Arizona by a booker who said, no F words, keep it PG-13, and we're performing at a fucking biker bar." And
what a weird rule at such a place. Then
is that a fairly common thing? Do you get like a little note sheet that's like, here's the do's and don'ts, here's things you can't do?
There's a lot of antiquated bookers that still do that shit, as opposed to like just trusting the comedian that they booked and have worked with in the past, right? Yes, there's a couple bad habits. I think I ran the light yesterday and I got an email about that, but
he's on stage, he's like, "I'm gonna finish the joke, but also I know the email is incoming."
yeah, I felt it and everything, and the crowd loved it, and everything was great, but in my brain I'm like, no, okay, yeah, there's a business to be had here, and but there are those times where they'll tell you, you can't cuss, don't know political talk. I think one of my all-time favorite ones I got booked to do this corporate event in Phoenix.
Ooh, I heard those are tough.
And I gotta look for it. It's in my email somewhere. But this lady said, please keep your material PG-13 related. We're gonna have, kids there at the crowd, but they're all gonna be like high schoolers and their parents who are gonna be there too. And so you're gonna be the comic. Keep it PG-13. They said they'll allow me 2 F-bombs, and I can only use the N-word twice as well. And I was all like, "What?" Oh, and no school shooting jokes was the last thing.
Just save all 4 of those for the end, and like that's my time.
That's my time.
Fuck, beep, beep, dude.
Like fuck, beep, beep.
Still got it in there. It was in the notes from the booker. I did it. I did the thing. Like,
anyway, we were pushing it towards the limit there, but
Oh shit.
yeah, dude, they'll ask for weird shit like that.
That is
dude.
weird. That is weird, dude. How did it go though?
It went great. I had a fucking blast. But I know I said the F word a lot more times. But I think that's just kind of the way I was raised. I know I'm aware I cuss a lot,
Same.
but it's never any point like derogatorily. I'm not pointing around. Yeah, these fucking people and fucking another censor moment. These fucking that over here. You can't. I wouldn't say it that, but I'd be like, hey, so.
I try to filter myself a little bit, because like, especially working, comedy, construction are the same in that, right? Where it's just like, you just cuss, and then every once in a while, like inside, you're like, man, I'm saying the word fuck a lot. I should dial that back and calm down a little bit. And you're like,
I've done that before too. And he's laughed at me because I made a reel and I probably said fucking like 15 times in like 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh yeah, I did use it a lot.
Yeah. One of the past times I was doing Stir Crazy Comedy Club, it was the first full weekend I was ever doing there. Usually I'll just go in and drop in for spots. And he gives me a full weekend there. And one of the last shows there, this elderly lady comes out and she comes up to me and she gives me a handshake and a big hug. And she said, I had such a great time. You were so very funny. By the way, my husband and I were having a drinking game for every time you said the F word. And we didn't make it. She's like, we're going to wander around so we can sober up a little bit. But we just wanted to tell you we had a great time. And that's the only time where in my brain I'm like, maybe I should dial back a little bit. Or
I almost gave these people alcohol poisoning. Holy shit. Like,
fucking, we lost Agnes to liver disease.
Oh my God.
And now I think I've just gotten to a point of where I talk about it on stage. Hey guys, I cuss a lot. If that bothers you, go fuck yourself. I don't care. I'm here to have a good time.
I mean, it's just weird when people go to a comedy show and they get offended. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to a comedy show, like, I don't know. It's just people are strange.
And the same thing with like comedy podcasts. If you don't like it, then don't watch. But also, like, this shit is great. Like, come on in. Come here.
Hey, you know what? If you have fucking complaints, put them in the goddamn fucking comments, okay? Go ahead, share it. Share this video and tell everybody why you're so offended. Okay?
But even some of the early
hold on. Listen to me, okay?
That's a bleep. That's
fucking listen to me, you fat. You share this video. Tell everybody why you're so fucking offended, and I will like it, and I will sincerely apologize to every comment and share. And if you don't share it, you don't say anything, then you're a bitch.
I fuel the fire, dude. Like, we try to keep it pretty, like, not hostile on the YouTube, but also sometimes when somebody shits on you, like, I'm returning fire at you. Yep. You will get some incoming fire, bitch. Like,
I mean, fucking let him, because you know what? I think my favorite thing about my favorite comedians are the ones who just kind of don't back down. They could be wrong. They could be super wrong about their opinion on stage, and they could be so wrong, but they'll back it up, right? When I first got started, I got started in a lot of black rooms, and it's one of those things where they would openly tell you, hey, don't half-step this. They will be able to call you out if whatever it is you're saying, you're not saying fully confident.
Yeah, you're not committed
right?
to it.
It is, I think, like a particular skill set to be like a villain comic where like the crowd kind of doesn't like you, but also like you're just right there with the replies and you're just hitting them with all kinds of shit, and they're like, this guy's good.
Oh yeah.
Even though they're like, this guy's a dick.
I mean, last night, one of the ladies in the front row, she had one of those what do they fucking wear them, like it's like the small tiny top hat, right, with like a lot of fucking ribbons and shit.
I know what you're talking about.
She's sitting in the fucking
she looks like a fucking
row.
Dr. Seuss character or something. Like,
and like I was doing a couple of the quick jokes and I could see she was just kind of mean mugging me, and I looked at her and I said, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I said I didn't know there was like a goth Kentucky Derby going on right now. And then she was just all like, no, I mean, it's funny or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I said, I don't want to pick on you. And I said, but also Beetlejuice 2 will be in theaters coming up soon. And then that broke her because she was like, even though it was at her expense, there is a tactful way to poke fun at literally everybody. Yeah, but the thing is that you're going to see a lot of comics who pick one specific type of person to poke fun at. I challenge myself to just go and then fucking, hey, who's white here? Fucking look at those elbows. I don't know.
Keep the fucking blade sharp for everybody. Yeah. So like, no matter who you are, you can get like a little custom light roast.
Yeah, because once they get a little like, oh my god, when you said that this guy looked like a little bitch, and I was just like, ha ha ha, right? Well, so do you, and ha ha, right? And it's so strange because only in that little insulting shit is like the most genuine reactions I'll get from the audience. That's how I know if they like me. That's how I know that if they allow me to poke fun at them and then still allow me to tell them a joke, then I know that they're fine.
Because they like trust you or whatever.
Yeah.
Like what you're doing on stage.
Probably nothing worse than just an ultra tight ass crowd. Are those the corporate events? Is that what you get with that crowd?
So it'll always be either corporate events or early matinee shows, like the sun is still out, right?
The day shows, those probably are a nightmare, dude.
People will respond to like the lights being out. Back when I was in El Paso, one of my favorite, just to kind of give, I mean, this is kind of the opposite of this, but we were nervous. We got booked to do it was a border patrol event for the third shifters.
Ooh, okay,
right?
Interesting.
So they were getting off of work.
You could curate some insane content for that because they probably see crazy shit on the reg, dude.
So one of the comedians was also border patrol, and he said, "Can you guys be at this bar?" I think we were supposed to be there like at 8 o'clock in the morning, right?
Oh,
in the morning.
A breakfast set,
shit.
dude.
We get there and they're just getting off of work. They're still in the uniforms, and the bar gets the part of the bar is like private, so they could do whatever the fuck they want. And then these guys pay their membership fees to hang out in that bar and drink. And we threw like a morning, comedy show for these guys, and we're barely awake, and they're fucking wanting to go home and just have a few beers and then just call it. And you would think that this would be the time that it not to really fuck with them so much. And I went up there and I just kind of started berating them for deporting my family. I started I said that I refuse to go outside to get a tan just so they can't catch me and they can't tell the difference. That's where I started the whole entire, I'm an indoor Mexican, right? And that's how I fucking learned how to live like this. And one guy got really offended, and the only guy who did was the most Mexican guy of the border patrol. And he came out, fool, we shouldn't be selling out our family like that. His accent wasn't like that, but I'm sure that's what it sounded like in my head. And so he was like, fool, like, it's not, you shouldn't be making fun of, the raza like that, dude. You shouldn't be doing that to the family. And my brain just immediately went into like, you know what, man, my check cleared. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like I was here. Everybody else loved it. You did it. Maybe we should deport you. And so
you're like, I don't give a fuck if you liked it or not. Everybody else did. I got paid. We're good to go.
And also weird. What a weird fucking. Because it's like you're working a job where you're saying you shouldn't talk to but you're also working a job where you're putting them in terrible situations. And
that's why.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Irony. I've just come to understand that when it comes to hot button topics, like nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about ever. And that's why you watch any of my sets, I rarely ever put out my opinion, right? Because I know that is such a flimsy thing. I know I am understanding that I can have my opinion changed at any moment. Now, that doesn't make me fickle or any of that shit. It just makes me a little empathetic because I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can kind of see it that way. I can kind of see it that way, right? But there are those people when it comes to comedy, and specifically comedy, that it's the quickest route for people to get upset about.
Yeah, because if it's not their opinion, then they're gonna get
especially like with like the more political shit. And I just don't know why people do that, because it's like you are immediately potentially just dividing
splitting your audience in half.
And why and then half of them now hate you. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I've learned out of all the cities I've been to, the best ones are, kind of the little more right-leaning ones, because they're willing to, laugh about everything, be a little racist about stuff, and be a little, they have a wider sense of humor about stuff. You can poke fun at them, and for the most part, they're pretty good. Unless you talk about the president, and then that's when that fucking shit goes off the rails. You go to a more left-leaning town like a Portland or San Francisco.
I've heard it. That's rough, tough, dude. We've heard both of those spots are kind of a little tough. Like, people are very tight ass.
They can be really fun, but you kind of have to deliver it differently. You could still do the same thing you just did, but you have to be able to deliver it a little bit more
in a way that's palatable for them, so they don't get
and it's
butthurt.
Unfortunately the same thing. It's kind of an all blanketing statement. If I were to walk in there, to Dallas and being all like, all right guys, you guys are forgetting all the great things that the Democrats have brought you guys, and I could feel them turn their themselves away, but I would have to deliver it in a way that they would be like, okay, I fuck with you, right? And as a comedian, I think I've gotten pretty good at dancing that line, and who'd have thought, fence jumping, and so dancing that line between both sides, and frankly, all I know is I like to drink. I don't like people to get too fucking hurt unless it's like on Jackass, and blowjobs are great. So that's my stance. Fucking America, fucking dick sucking and hey, Bowling for Soup has a new album. Go fucking check it out. And ska is the music that you hear whenever Capri Sun is opened up. Fucking.
That's such a specific call out, dude. I'm never gonna be able to unhear that, dude.
Every single time a Lunchables pops open, it's be like,
You hear
whoa,
just trumpets.
Streetlight Manifesto starts playing. Fucking checkerboard pants come out, and everything, and that one aisle of Hot Topic gets revitalized one more time.
Hell yeah.
So one last thing that you had mentioned in your pre-pod questionnaire that I wholeheartedly agree with as far as comedy is concerned is there's a lot of people that need to know when it's time to hang it up.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people, I'm not going to name any names and call anybody out, but there's some people it's just kind of like you need to know this is not for you. This is not your game.
It's what ends up happening is that there's a weird line where comedians will go up on stage and say, I do this because it's therapy. This is my form of being therapeutically taken care of, right? But then you start understanding that, like, this is also a business of entertainment, right? This is supposed to be the point where if whatever it is you're saying on stage isn't doing the job, right, you have to change something. There's a comedian back in my hometown has been doing this for a year less than I have, right? So he's got about the same level of experience. The thing is that he's never grown out of that hole. I've never seen him do a set that was bigger and stronger and that shit. He's a great hustler. The guy's a fucking sweetheart. But on stage, I wanna stab a fucking nail through my dick so I can piss in my face. It's so fucking bad. And he's been told this multiple times. Hey, it's not great. It's not good. And because comics have fragile egos, right? A lot of us are afraid of telling them, hey, does this make you happy anymore? Like, because it's not making them. You very obviously are not getting the results that you want, and you're not exactly changing anything. Now you're just taking up a spot on the list.
I feel like a ton of people don't ask me my opinion, because for those who have, if you ask me,
he's a pretty straightforward.
I'm going to be honest with you, and it's not a disrespectful thing. I'm not trying to shit on you or make you feel bad about yourself, but if you ask me, I will give you the truth, because it's just a disservice. I don't like when people just be honest with me. If you don't like this or something about me or whatever, that's cool. That's being.
But it
like
is so
human.
weird when people want that opinion and then you give it and then they get all pissed off.
Oh yeah,
it's
because
like,
people want to they want affirmation. They want people to go, "You're great. And you're doing good."
I think that's the flip side. Is that I've told comedians that they ain't shit, right? And it's never like maliciously. It's usually like, "Hey, come here. This is like the third or fourth time I've had to pay you to do a show that was subpar, and it's so bad. Is everything okay? You know what? I think you need to fucking take a break, or fucking
go work
leave,
on
go focus on something else.
Yeah.
Go live life, because you apparently are not. How are you going to be a comedian and talk about life if you ain't fucking living it? You're just here, right? So go do that shit. And then a lot of them will immediately make me the villain, and then they'll turn around and then they'll be like, oh, now. And then they come back and they'll do great. And they'll be like, I showed you. And I'm like, cool.
Good. Yeah.
There is no greater motivator than making somebody butthurt and pissing them off a little bit and going like, "Hey, you're fucking up. Fix it."
Oh, and when they tell
it.
me, "Did you see? I just headlined my first theater," and I'm all like, oh, "Okay, well, I guess it's about time, dude."
Yeah.
And then fucking be like, "This is bullshit. I'm working to Netflix." I'm like, "Okay, well, fucking, I'm not gonna buy a subscription, so good for you, dude." Fucking. Yeah, what is this gonna fucking happen? If I'm the guy you have to prove wrong for you to be successful, hey, fucking lack of skill issue. Go for it. But frankly, I want to see everybody be funny. I'm a fan of a lot of these comedians, and I try to make it known, where I pull them aside and I'm like, "Hey, that was fucking hilarious. That was great. That was that." And I try to build up a scene, because eventually at one point, if I can't perform anymore or something happens, right, I still want to have my feet in this pool.
Yeah.
So it's in my best interest that everybody gets good, and if not, then they're forever going to be
Build the
bitches.
scene.
Sorry.
Build the scene. Everybody wins. Let's all win together.
You do a lot of great things for the scene out here. Honestly, you do. We see it, and for me, like I said, I'm just a giant comedy fan, so I love doing this and being a part of that scene and having you guys on.
Yep.
It's really
a lot of
fucking
fun.
cool for me and a lot of fun, and we're so grateful that you guys welcome us and you're willing to give us your time. So,
Fuck yeah, dude.
on that note, thanks again for coming on so much. You have anything to plug?
Yeah,
Anything to shout out?
plug. I know you
People
got
know.
shows.
Yeah,
Like,
let's look to shows.
Hey, we're back on the road again. We'll be in El Paso, Texas, my hometown, at a brand new comedy club that actually cares about their comics. That's a weird way for me to take a jab at my old home club. No, we're at a brand new comedy club in El Paso, Texas. Chuckles Comedy Club. Will be the last weekend of this month. We'll be celebrating my birthday that weekend. And then I'll be honest with you guys, we come back to Vegas. We've got some shows in Long Beach on the 11th. And then I'll be headlining Jimmy Kimmel's late night show on the 13th. We'll be doing both the New Woo and Dirty at 12:30 on the 19th.
ooh, let's
Nice.
go.
Let's
Might
go.
have to be there for that one. Dude.
And
Let's go.
I'll be there with my buddy Shang, and then the best fucking things that Vegas will be having, and you guys fucking open invite for sure. The 26th, Jocelyn Sharp's Filth Factory. If you've never checked out that show, it is a no holds barred, uncensored show. It is fucking wild, and Jocelyn's the best person to host that.
And that's going to be at like Wise Guys,
right? Yep.
Arts
On the
District,
26th
right?
of July.
26th of July, yeah.
And then the
Fuck yeah.
28th is a brand new show produced by one of my favorite human beings, Jamal Coleman. It's a show called All Gas, No Breaks, where they pick one comedian.
Great
they
name.
put a mic in front of him, and the second he runs out of topics, the show ends. I will be that comic for the first time. It'll be myself and I believe Alex Kool-Aid Ansel.
Hell yeah.
Will
Kool-Aid's
be on the
great.
day. So come through. It is literally a marathon.
It's a fucking endurance race
Whatever
of
it
how
is.
long you can go. That's pretty wild, dude. I like that.
And fucking, I plan on doing the fucking 2 hours. So, yeah, come by
yeah.
out. That should be fun. So,
Hell yeah.
So check that out, everybody. You might even see us there if you want to come check out some premium comedy. Thanks for coming on, Adam. This
Fucking
was
love you
great,
guys, man.
It was great to have you. So yeah, I'm Uncle Kyle. That's Sweet Derek. We'll see you on the next one.
Later.
comments.
Johnny.
Comments.
Subscribe. God damn it. Like, subscribe. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Naturals Pod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at the Naturals Pod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.